brought to you by Genovese. We'll take good care of you. By the athlete, he knows the athlete's foot like the athlete's foot. And by the BOCES Tech Centers, the power to succeed. For Stan Kellner, Hal Sass, the entire Cablevision crew who is on their way packing their bags for Glens Falls, this is Carl Reuter saying once again the final score, 56, William Floyd, 49.
Cablevision's Long Island One wants your St. Patrick's Day parade photos. If you plan to take snapshots of family or friends at a community parade, why not share them with the rest of Long Island as part of a special photo bulletin board montage airing continuously on St. Patrick's Day? All photographs must be received by Tuesday, March 15th. Send them to Long Island Celebrates St. Patrick's Day, 1600 Motor Parkway, Hauppauge, New York, 11788. Then, 97.5 WALK will be teaming up with Cablevision's Long Island One to bring you video highlights of parades in Garden City, Huntington, Bayport Blue Point, Rocky Point, and Westhampton. Tune into this Shamrock-filled special at 9 p.m. on St. Patrick's Day. It'll be an emerald evening of community spirit with WALK and Cablevision's Long Island One.
Long Island's own
Cablevision, Long Island One.
Cablevision presents the Long Island Class B Championship. Today from Hofstra University, the Hurricanes of Westhampton tip off against Nassau's best, the Westbury Green Dragons. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers along with Stan Kellner. What a matchup, Stan. You've got a couple of teams that have had outstanding seasons. However, both teams lost in county championship games. Their last game, what can we expect today?
This is a game of credibility, affirmation. One of these teams, both of these teams, incidentally, coming off tough losses, emotional losses. Westbury and Westhampton. However, only one of these teams is going to go up to Glens Falls. Which team will it be? It's a team that I think that can effectively press the other guy off the court.
All right, let's take a look at this Westhampton ball club because they are the premier defensive club in Suffolk County, and they played just a marvelous season, losing one so far this year. They press. They're a very athletic club, and of course they've got a great guy by the name of Pete Donahue to score a lot of points for him.
No, Pete is a complete player. You really like Pete. I've seen him for when he was in junior high and he went to our camp. He does it all. Plays defense, can rebound, gives the ball up. He is a star that has to prove himself that he can play on the island and off the island. He does not want to end up with an L today.
All right, as far as the Westbury Green Dragons are concerned, we've seen them on a couple of occasions. They are an exciting ball club. They run the floor very well. We've talked a lot about Stanley Martin. He's had a great playoff, but they've got a player almost as good by the name of Joe Spells.
Joe Spells, the catalyst. His head is always in a ball game. This Westbury ball club was not up to the task of Malvern last week. They just didn't play with the same conviction. This young man did. He makes things happen. If he gets into the paint, takes his jump shot, drops the ball off as he can do so well, then Westbury is going to have a very enjoyable trip up to Glens Falls.
Well, both teams like to press the ball. You'll see a lot of turnovers. You'll see a lot of fast-paced basketball. Should be a very, very interesting and exciting afternoon. And Carl Rudder returns with the coaches. Get set for exciting high school basketball on Cablevision's LISN.
They're courteous, they're quick. Children, they really take care of you.
If someone has a sick child, Jeff does it immediately, no waiting.
On New Year's Day. And he had the chicken pox, and this was the only place that was open.
We're open 363 days of the year. Rain, snow, everything. We're here.
It's family-oriented, especially for prescriptions.
It's the customer, the customer, the customer, the customer. Take care of the customer. That's it.
Whenever I had an injury, I just go to Steve Worth and the Long Island Sports Rehab.
Steve Worth, physical therapist of the New York Islanders, has been providing orthopedic and sports physical therapy to Long Islanders for 20 years. With his professional staff utilizing state-of-the-art equipment, Long Island Sports and Rehab provides the best personal care for all your orthopedic needs. With 2 convenient locations, Long Island Sports and Rehab gets you back in action.
Join me and my team at Long Island Sports and Rehab.
Courtside with the coaches before the start of today's game, Dwight Gibson of Westbury to my left. We'll talk with Westhampton's Rich Rays first. And Rich, obviously a big ball game. You know what it's all about. You were here last year. Yeah. Have you made any changes? Do you know what this club is all about as well?
Well, I've seen him play. I saw him play Malvern last week, and I have scouted him through other people. And we're ready. We're a lot looser than last year. We want to go to Glens Falls this year.
Why are you a lot looser? Just because of that one-game experience of being here last year?
Last year we didn't know what it was all about, you know. We didn't know how to handle, before the games and how to prepare for the games. I think we prepared a lot better this year.
When you talk about handle, what about Stanley Martin for that club?
He's one of the best players I've seen this year. If he doesn't make all Long Island, it's incredible because he's got to be in the top 5 players on the island.
Can you contain him?
I hope so. I hope so. We're going to sure as hell try.
Did you talk to an old friend of yours during the course of the week, a guy that might be calling this game, Stan Kellner? Any words of advice from the genius?
No, I want to win this week, so I decided I wasn't going to talk to Stan this week.
All right, Rich, good luck in this ball game.
All right, thank you.
All right, let me turn around here to Dwight Gibson of Westbury. And Dwight, what a Cinderella story it's been so far. Everybody knew you had the talent, but to get to the Long Island Championship, one step away from the state championships, quite an achievement. Have you thought about that yet, or are you just concentrating on Westhampton?
Well, I really haven't reflected on the entire season. Hopefully I'll be able to do that in another 2 or 3 weeks from now. But yes, it's been a Cinderella team. My kids have played very, very hard. And my coaching staff has been excellent. So, we're just trying to make sure that we win this Long Island Championship today.
Have you seen Westhampton at all, whether it be on TV on the Long Island Sports Network, or did you get to see them in person at all?
Well, I saw a couple of tapes, even on the cable. And, they got a very well-balanced team. They're very fundamentally sound. And, hopefully my kids can play tough defense and come out victorious.
So you're going to be 32 minutes in their face?
Oh, without a doubt.
And any words of wisdom from your former coach who's somewhere upstairs in the stands, Russ Bastian? Have you talked to him at all during the week?
Well, he wrote me a letter and, gave me some inspiration, and I, related to my kids. And, right now I know that they're really mentally prepared.
All right, Bunky Reed was one of the best-dressed coaches on the sidelines. Dwight Gibson stepping in, filling the role, winning coach, and I'll give you that best dress for this year. Good luck in the ball game.
Thank you very much.
Dwight Gibson, the coach of Westbury. Richie Race of Westhampton. Should be an outstanding ball game. Long Island Class B Championship is up next, and we're coming back right after this timeout. Stay with us.
A dozen eggs, Make that 11. A dozen donuts, plus one's a baker's dozen. A dozen pair of sneakers, plus one free. That's the Athlete's Foot family plan. When a family buys 12 pairs, earn one pair free. No time limit, no cards to carry, and no cost. Any footwear, including cleats, counts toward your dozen. Choose from all the top brands, Nike, Reebok, Fila, LA Gear, and check out our exciting lines from No Fear and Starter. Put your best foot forward at the Athlete's Foot, the best service and selection known to feed.
Today's game is being brought to you by Genovese. We'll take good care of you. By the Athlete's Foot. Nobody knows the Athlete's Foot like the Athlete's Foot, with 8 locations on Long Island to serve you. And by the Bosse's Tech Centers, the power to succeed. Barry Landers, Stan Kellner, Carl Rudder. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First of all, for the Westhampton Hurricanes stand.
Lamar Holman, the point guard's got to handle the pressure. Munch, the stand-up shooter. Hubbard, the all-everything guy. Ford, emotional, passionate, inside's got to play the boards. Pete Donahue has to have a big game.
And for the Westbury Green Dragons, a very balanced scoring ball club.
Charlie Johnson has to be steady at the point guard. Pedro Fletcher coming off a flat game. Stanley Martin's got to get inside. Joe Spells is Joe Spells. Hugh Bryant, the role player.
All right, so we're just about ready to go. The officials from Section 1, Walter Wetchy. He'll hold the ball in his hand right now, ready to tip it off. And Howard Johnson is the other official. As we're underway, and Westbury controlling the tip. Anything early, Stan, that we should look for keys on?
Yeah, tempo. Westbury wants to get up tempo. Westhampton's got to control that tempo.
Joe Spells from the baseline, way short, put up by Stanley Martin to make it 2-0 Westbury.
First big key. The big guy, Stan Martin, has decided to play inside and not play around the perimeter.
All right, we'll set the lineups for you. Lamar Holman is number 30. And working it outside, Kevin Hubbard back to Holman. Holman travels, and Westbury turns it over on their first possession.
This is Westbury, a team that was emotionally flat against Malvern. It was played right off the court. Did not cover back. Did not have their head in the game.
So the Westbury Green Dragons bring it up. Charles Johnson, their excellent point guard. He'll work in the backcourt with Pedro Fletcher. Fletcher trying to run it down, an errant pass by Charles Johnson. So both teams with early turnovers.
Charles Johnson wanted to get Pedro to go back door. Pedro did not read the cut.
Now there'll be backcourt pressure by Westhampton. Charles Johnson picking up the dribbler. Lamar Holman, the point guard, who's done a great job this year, averaging 10 points as well. Kevin Hubbard playing up top at 6'5", throws it away right into the arms that time of Hugh Bryant. So Westhampton a little rattled in the early going
here. Well, you can't throw a bounce pass. Kevin Hubbard trying to throw a bounce pass from midcourt. Slowest pass in creativity.
Hugh Bryant had it knocked away. And, of course, Westhampton was in this Long Island championship game last year. They lost to Roosevelt. And Teddy Hammond's club's reign of 3 consecutive years has ended. And, of course, this Westbury club playing some great basketball in the playoffs.
I guess the end of all success is failure, but you got to remember the journey when you were on the roll.
Pedro Fletcher bombing away to make it 5-0, as he's an excellent outside shooter. Had only 4 points against Malvern, trying to redeem himself.
Well, he's an emotional player, too. Makes that first 3, gets his head into the game, feels confident, gets into the groove.
Donahue guarded by Johnson on an interesting switch there, and Westhampton throws it away again. And Richie Race Club completing its 3rd turnover in its 3rd possession.
They had a long trip there, Barry. There's Dwight Gibson, the rookie coach who learned, I think, from the last game and will make the adjustments. He is a very competitive, very bright, great coach, really.
Fletcher up to Charles Johnson. Spells putting it on the floor, off to Stanley Martin, powers his way in, and he banked it home over Pete Donahue to make it 7-0.
Well, I don't think Stan Martin wants to go home and stay home. I think he wants to take that throughway up north and get an opportunity to show his skills up there, and he's got to play inside. He's a brute.
Brock Munch, a good straightaway spot shooter, missing. Donahue hunting the rebound down in the corner, but stepped out of bounds. It'll be Westbury ball.
It's a long ride for Westhampton on a bus, and I don't think it's gonna. It's those yellow buses are aren't the most comfortable in the world. They got to get past the border guards to get into Nassau County, and they're here, and they got a little bit of frost on their body.
Well, you'll recall last year they had some frost against Roosevelt, losing that game 58-49. They'll get a turnover here, and there'll be a goaltending. Count the basket that time for Brock Munch.
Westhampton has really made a living defensively using a matchup zone press, the one that Gus Alferreira used so many good years that he had over there at St. Anthony. And they can press, they can pick up, what they do is double up the ball and then they steal. They rotate excellently.
Stanley Martin up top to Charles Johnson. They're doubling up on the ball right now. Here's Joe Spells, the lefty, driving the right side and putting it in.
Well, there's a different feel out there with those guys with those yellow uniforms on. They are not playing thoughtlessly. They are not playing carelessly. They're playing aggressively.
Pete Donahue working it outside, launching one off the back rim and a bat on the rebound. Going to be a foul on Stanley Martin as he fouled number 42, Kevin Hubbard, who was boxing him out.
Take a look at Westbury now, getting inside. That's Joe Spells getting inside, hitting it off the glass with his left hand. When he goes to the basket, great things happen. What Westhampton has to do is prevent that guy from getting inside.
Another turnover with the quick hands. 4 turnovers for Westhampton in a very early going here. We've played less than 3 minutes. Fletcher launching one. Pedro Fletcher from that left corner. He has 6 points, and the Westbury lead is 10.
Westhampton will come back. They came back last year against Roosevelt, if you remember. But they're playing on a court that they're not familiar with. There's a great steal by Pedro Fletcher going all the way, and a great block inside.
Stanley Martin count the basket. What a great effort by Pete Donahue to get back, make the block. But nobody else came back to help out, and Stanley Martin had the layup and got fouled as well.
You can't assume anything on the court. Certainly Pete Donahue didn't, and certainly that guy, Dwight Gibson, isn't. Great player at Uniondale, great coach now at Westbury. Look at the steal by Fletcher, going inside. Look at the pursuit. Look at the block. But there's no green shirts around. No green shirts around. But guess who is around? Stanley Martin. Wake-up call for Mr. Martin.
And Richie Race has quickly called a timeout before his team gets blown out of this game. Down 12 early here. They lost to Southampton, Stan. Their only loss of the season last week in the small school championship. People were surprised that Southampton scored that many points on them. This is a club that has only been giving up 41 points a game, yet Southampton scored 67 in that game.
I think Richie Race has to respect Dwight Gibson's ball club, the Green Dragons, but at the same time, he's got to go back to that kind of pressure that these kids are used to. The Westhampton Hurricanes, they've got to double up. They got to press up. They got to steal the ball. They got to make things happen. They got to be free and careless. You know what I mean?
All right, Stan, let's take a look at the road to the top for these teams from Suffolk County. Westhampton clobbered Deer Park, beat Miller Place, and then, of course, lost to... There's a one game missing there, I believe, in their road to the top. That was the win over Half Hollow Hills West. That was for the championship, the small score, the B championship.
If I remember,
that game is not on there.
That was 59-40 for Westhampton, and that was a good game. But notice they don't give up scores. It's a low-scoring game.
And for Westbury, a victory over Floral Park. They've been blowing people away early, and then that great win over Garden City, the loss to Malvern, 67-62.
May I say a great loss to Malvern, because obviously they have had a mindset,
a wake-up call.
A wake-up call, if you will, but they have set their minds differently. They're coming in here to play. The word wasn't last week before the game. They did not hit curfew right. They didn't come sharp, and they're learning. They've learned from that experience. Young team, young coach, but they are here to play today. Maybe more than that, here to win.
Stanley Martin missing the back end of the three-point play. Donahue driving to the basket and rolled off, unfortunately. Good rebound by Hugh Bryant underneath. There's a lot of that dirty work, Hugh Bryant, but very good role player on this.
Role player, physical, strong, will finish when the ball gets to him inside. Cannot create.
Did a great job rebounding against Garden City. Martin shot blocked that time by Holman. And Holman will push it up. Lawrence Holman getting a little fancy there. Donahue from outside missing, and all the yellow shirts boxing out. They come up with the ball once again. Hugh Bryant with the rebound.
Quick jumpers, and Hugh Bryant, who had 5 rebounds a game this past season, it was strong inside.
He had 8 in that Garden City victory, you recall. Inside, thrown away, and Westhampton will get the ball, trailing by 12 with 3:50 to go in this first quarter.
Count on this. Westhampton will be back. The Hurricanes will blow the inside and get the ball inside. These are great athletes. But the question is, what kind of differential will there be when they're ready to play and start finishing up their plays?
Donahue bringing it up against Fletcher. Good matchup there. Ball knocked away, and another turnover here. Stanley Martin down court off the hand of Pedro Fletcher, and Westhampton will get it back.
Westhampton is being impatient. The guys are not meeting the ball, but there's great pressure by the Dragons up front. great pressure. And what happens is there's too much spacing between the passer and the receiver. That has to close down. Either the guards have to get the ball closer in, or the other guys have to come up and meet the ball.
Tyrone Ford's got to get involved in the offense, too. Munch pulling away, hits the jumper, and got fouled by Charles Johnson. So Brock Munch, the 6-foot senior, who transferred from Santa Mauritius, averaging 8 points, and hasn't scored a whole lot in the playoffs, comes up with a big bucket on the baseline. He'll try to complete the 3-point play.
And he doesn't score basically with the ball on the floor, but he's going to the floor. Westbury forces you to go to the floor, but then he stops and shoots. That's one thing he can do, spot up and shoot.
First foul on Johnson, free throw missed. Ford had the ball, but couldn't hang on to it. That could have been a big 4-point play had Ford been able to put the rebound back up.
If Ford is not into this game with passion, the Hurricanes cannot win. He is the key. He is one of their emotional leaders.
Johnson knocked away. Speaking of Ford, came up with a steal. He's got a break going. He's got a man Hubbard with him, but he'll pull up for the jumper. Hubbard going up for the rebound and will be called for the foul, fouling Pedro Fletcher on the rebound.
It's a shame. Ford had a teammate on his side, couldn't give the ball up, saw the rim. See, that's a question of discipline right now, and he's got to get into the groove. He did not make all the practices this week, Tyrone Ford. Did not have a good week on planet Earth out there in Westhampton, but he has got to clear himself. He's got to play tough, and he's got to get involved and get other people involved.
Well, Fletcher brings it across. Over to Joe Spells. He'll pull up for the jumper. Batted around, out of bounds, and it goes over to Westhampton. Brock Munch to inbound the ball. They trail by 10, 2:43 to go. Richie Race, who was a former star at Half Hollow Hills High School, great basketball player, an all-county player, and done a great job coaching at Eastport and Westhampton.
Great competitor. President also of the Suffolk County Coaches Association.
Fletcher called for a needless foul, a reach-in foul on Pete Donahue. It'll be his first and the third team foul.
As far as Richie is concerned, I mean, he's won 3 championships in a row here, but I think his proudest moment is having a short awards banquet.
Pete Donahue looking inside. Nobody cutting to the ball, and he lost the ball out of bounds. Turnover number 7. And we have played just 5.5 minutes, Dan.
Low-scoring game, but you see, the game of basketball is a game of spurts. You know that. In hockey, one score can win a game, but in basketball, it's a game of spurts.
Pedro Fletcher, why did you bring up hockey, my friend?
This is so boring. That's why you get so excited when there's a score. Score!
Joe Spells missing. Good rebound by the 6'5" Kevin Hubbard, who averages 8 rebounds. Holman off to Donahue. Good return for Hubbard. Count the basket. And he was fouled by Fletcher.
Oh, a give and go. Short passes, hard cuts, payoff.
And you see the Westbury fans and the cheerleaders enjoying that one.
Watch the break now, the rebound. The ball doesn't come down. Oh, it does. Kicks it out, Mr. Hubbard.
Holman with a good pass.
And then the give and go. You're going to watch the go. Peter to Mr. Kevin. And that's Kevin Donahue finishing it off. I mean, I'm sorry, that's Hubbard finishing off. Nice pass from Donahue, number 44.
And the momentum swings, and Dwight Gibson will call a timeout. And as you look at the Hurricane bench, what a season they have had. They were 21-0 until their last game. They dominated League 6. They were champs. And last year, of course, they won the Suffolk B title, lost to Roosevelt 58-49. And last year, they won the BCD small school championship, lost to Bayshore for the overall county championship. So Richie Race has had a really outstanding ball club, at least for the last 2 years. He's got a 3-year record, Stan, that even you, Mr. Kellner, would appreciate. 51-13.
Yeah, and he certainly has done it with fine players and good coaching. He really reveres defense, works a lot, emphasizes, really focuses on playing the defensive end of the court.
And Stan, like you, as we see Dwight Gibson over there, he really gives a lot of credit to his wife, Betty Jean, and his 2 kids, Richie 8 and Nicole 12. And Nicole, over in high school, junior high, plays a little high school basketball.
Well, I happen to be in love with Nicole. She came to our camp. I used to eat lunch with her. In fact, she's playing right now. She's not at the game.
Well, this man is at the game. Kevin Hubbard completes the 3-point play, and that 12-point deficit is down to 7. 5 straight points for the Hurricanes. Now Fletcher pressed in the backcourt. Martin getting down low. It's an easy 2 for him. Boy, when he squares off to the basket like that, it's like money in the bank.
Well, he's got to make his decisions before the game. He's got to decide he wants to play big inside. That's where he originally started inside, and that's where the game is won and lost.
Another turnover. That'll be number 8. Here's Fletcher. Excellent outside shooter. Joe Spells. Off to Fletcher in the corner. He'll pull up. Oh, boy, what a stroke Pedro Fletcher has. We saw him bang 18 points against Garden City last week. And Fletcher comes off with a turnover. Number 9 for Westhampton. They're shooting themselves in the foot here.
Well, they certainly are by making intermediate and long passes rather than short passes by posting up. Westbury's too quick getting in the passing lanes.
And inside, Mr. Money in the Bank, Stanley Martin with the layup. He has 10.
This is the third game, or really basically the fourth game I've seen Martin play. They are getting him the ball inside. He is going to the basket. When a guy is that big and strong, it's tough to stop.
Holman with the drive and an offensive foul as he finished. Pedro Fletcher took it on the numbers. Foul number 1 on Holman. And this is the biggest lead of the ballgame. Fletcher says, hey, I don't mind. I'll take it on the numbers. I can laugh. We've got a lead here of 13 points.
Well, here's the point guard, number 30, Lamar Holman, who's really a smart. He's a junior. He's going to the basket, but the yellow shirt steps in and takes the charge. You know something? I remember what Hal Sass told me one time, and I'll never forget it because it sticks in my mind. It's not the mistakes you make, it's how you handle the mistakes. It's obvious that Westbury has handled their poor game against Malvern in a very victorious way.
Ford, that may get him going off the fast break, his first 2, averaging 14, and it's 20-9.
Oh, you can see Westhampton can push the ball up the floor, and look at that, they can get in the passing lanes too.
Good hustle on that play that time, and they'll come up with the ball. Donahue knocking that ball at the baseline and recover it. Westhampton has made a substitution. We'll pick it up for you. John DeMarco, number 22 in the ball game. And for Westbury, number 44, Kevin Felician is in the game. He missed the Garden City game, did not play last week, but did come back to play. He's a good sub off the bench, Felician. Shot clock is down to 8. They've got to get it off quickly, and they almost throw it away. Donahue will drive, pull up, and a big bucket psychologically for the Westhampton Hurricanes. They cut that 13-point deficit to 9 at the end of 1.
Absolutely. Westbury's doing a superb job. Westhampton's coming in, but Westbury, if you notice, they always make you look bad. They can create things on defense.
Time out on the floor. The Hoop Troopin' likes that last basket. We'll be back with more. You're watching Championship High School Basketball.
Great store, clean, neat, and the sales help is wonderful, especially the pharmacists.
It's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store.
It's a great store. I just like the store, period.
I'm a tough customer. The prices are great. You can get in and out in 5 minutes.
Keep it up. The prices are great.
You got a fine store. Keep up the good work.
Is there a Mr. Genevieve?
Yeah.
And we've been trying to service the customer this way for the 70 years next year.
A dozen eggs. Make that 11. A dozen donuts, plus one's a baker's dozen. A dozen pair of sneakers, plus 1 free. That's the Athlete's Foot family plan. When a family buys 12 pairs, earn 1 pair free. No time limit, no cards to carry, and no cost. Any footwear, including cleats, counts toward your dozen. Choose from all the top brands, Nike, Reebok, Fila, LA Gear, and check out our exciting lines from No Fear and Starter. Put your best foot forward at the Athlete's Foot, the best service and selection known to feed.
And our thanks to the fine folks at the Athlete's Foot. I know a lot of folks in Bridgehampton rooting for their neighbors from Westhampton to come up with the victory today, and likewise in the Nassau County Athlete's Foot stores pulling for Westbury. So here we go, second quarter action, Munch to trigger it in. Westhampton will make very few substitutions. They're really basically a 7-man team, Stan, as we have DeMarco in the game right now, and this is Donahue working it outside.
Both teams will play short rotations. The 5 guys on the court for both teams are the 5 that are going to win or lose this ball game.
All right, pulling to the foul line is Donahue. Nice dish off to Ford, and he got the nice soft roll.
A nice pass by Pete Donahue, but it's very important for Mr. P. Ford to make that basket, get his head into the game, get emotionally into this game, and do his thing.
7 straight, back the other way, Charles Martin, no basket, travel call.
Let me tell you, from the start, we're seeing Westbury and Malvern and Hofstra. I thought Westbury was the best ball club, best balance, best ball player with this guy Stanley Martin, but something happened on the way to the county championship. But anyway, they are here today.
Hugh Bryant, the opportunist, off the bad pass by Donahue, gets his first 2, and that ends a 7-straight point run.
I think no one can stop Stan Martin if he's in the right position with the right attitude.
Pulling up 4, he misses. He had hit a couple of buckets in a row, and Charles Johnson Up court now to Joe Spells. Underneath, tapped away by Munch, who got back as they were looking for Kevin Felician underneath. As Dwight Gibson, the former Uniondale star, with his old coach here, looking on. Russ Bastion, he's what a supporter of high school basketball.
A grand guy. What they've done is taken the best half-court coach, coach, strategy coach in the county, and put him on a permanent bench. Bad move. The guy could really flat out coach.
DeMarco doubling up on the ball, number 22. He's a defensive catalyst. Good ball handler. He's a little guy, number 22.
Nice
Inside,
move.
Brian, off the great feed.
Great movement. Right into the pulse of the defense, the heart of the defense, and then right down on the baseline. Great move. Westbury's playing with a great sense of purpose.
4 points for Bryant. Ford having trouble. Throws it away. What's he doing there? It'll be an easy basket for Joe Spells. Not only did he throw the ball away, but he gave him an easy 2.
Well, that's called composure. You got to keep it.
26-13, the lead back to 13. DeMarco has it stolen away by Spells. 2-on-1, Felician to the hole. And an offensive foul will be called on Kevin Felician. The tough 5'8" sophomore is a defensive stopper.
Well, he was tough, but you understand Pete Donahue was tougher and stepping in the way. What we've got now is we got a change of guards there at the point position. And what Westbury is doing is putting extreme pressure up on the offense, the beginning offense. Take a look at Peter. Just looks at the numbers, takes it on the numbers, becomes a hero. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Folks, you don't feel it.
Ford takes it back, misses after throwing the ball away at the one end, missed a short 5-footer. And he is the catalyst, as we've mentioned a couple of times. Holman trying to stop Batiste, number 4, who replaced Johnson at the point guard spot. That's Batiste, smallest player on the court at 5'6". And Felician had it knocked out of bounds. It'll still be Westbury ball.
Westhampton's playing a 2-1-2 zone with a lot of traps. But what's happening is Westbury's getting the ball into the heart of that defense, right over the top, where the point passer can go right or left.
Martin from the corner off that rim. Then Batiste knocked away in the lane as he looked for Bryant. Good play by Holman to come up with the ball, but he travels in the lane. And another turnover against Westhampton. That's their 11th.
Lamar Holman, I'm talking about, number 30, has been a starter for 3 years. Those long arms and legs, they walk awkward at time, but I mean, he's been a very effective point guard for his Hurricanes this season.
So the captain, the big guy, Stanley Martin, inbounds to Spells, doubling up on the ball. Oh, he somehow managed to wrestle it free. 5-second violation, and good defense forces the turnover here.
I love that call. You know, that call isn't there in college ball, and it showed it last night.
It hurts good defense.
Well, what it is, they figured they got a 35-second clock. You're going to give it a little bit back to the offense, but it's wrong. It should be a rule. It should be put back in. Rewards good defense.
Ford again. Got the bounce this time. Well, he's getting good shots, and he's got to hit those little 5-footers. He has 6 points, Tyrone Ford.
You said the word, you got to, and you can't shoot and got to. You got to let it happen.
Ford has had good playoff stand. He's had 18 against Deer Park, 18 against Miller Place, 30 against Hills West. So he's capable of a big night and explosion, and 16 against Southampton. So even though he's only averaging 14 points, he's averaging over 20 in the playoffs.
But if you notice, the ball is not getting past midcourt often enough to get it into his hands, and then you got to credit the Green Hornets.
Even though they're wearing yellow today. Hubbard inside, there's Ford off the glass. He has 8, and suddenly it's back to a 9-point lead.
And Westbury will allow you to come back in, but they are so perpetual with their pressure. And there's where Westhampton has to get back. They have to keep the pressure up. They can play and sustain their press the entire game.
What a pass. Felician, who was struggling with the ball, somehow found Stanley Martin open. He reversed it up for points at 11 and 12.
Those big hands of Stanley Martin. He could make anybody look like a great passer.
Hubbard almost traveled after receiving it. Donahue bringing it down. His club down by 11. There's Ford, slicing, reverse, miss. And the rebound to Stanley Martin.
The guy wants to change the tempo of the game, and when he takes his arm up, number 32, he says, let's slow it down. Let me get out this perimeter game here.
Holman will pick up the loose ball as Westbury turns it over. Holman driving, runs into a man. It'll be a charging foul. As taking it on the numbers that time was the little guy, Charles Johnson. Second foul on Holman.
Not enough credit is going Charlie Johnson's way. I mean, he's quick, he's aggressive. I mean, everybody talked about Lawrence Mason, how super he is. This young man has distributed the ball for his yellow team all season long.
Felician to Bryant. Nice pass.
Oh, wow.
Great block by Ford, but he got a piece of the arm of Stanley Martin. That is great passing, folks.
You know what I like, too? Everybody fills lanes, and that's what Westhampton isn't doing well. Filling lanes with commitment, and Westbury is. There's Richie Race. Now watch this. Pass it to the side. That's what they're doing well. Getting it off, and now watch this pass. Oh, inside. The big guy goes hard to the basket, draws the foul, gets on the line. Good free throw shooter, 80%. Hey.
Ford went up there pretty strong to try to block it. Looking for point number 13, and he will get it. 6 for 8 from the floor. How about these numbers in the playoffs for this young man? 30 against Floral Park, 35 against Great Neck South, 28 against Garden City, and 30 in the loss against Malvern. Not too shabby, Stan Kelly.
But each one of those games, he earned those points too many times from the perimeter. Wanted to do his one-on-one stuff. He is taking his big body, and he is just going hard to the basket.
And now a timeout has been taken. Or is there an inadvertent timeout?
There's a cut.
Officials,
There's a cut
on the arm of Donahue on his elbow. And if anytime the official spots that, and that official over there is Howard Johnson from Westchester Rockland, the gentleman with the basketball, and try to clean it up, get a Band-Aid. Richie Ray said, anybody got a Band-Aid here?
We don't bleed out here.
Where's my son?
You sure?
Where's
That's
Richie?
ketchup.
Where's Richie Jr.? Is Richie Jr. on the bench there?
No, Richie's not here either. I don't think. I saw Betty Jean come into the Mr. and Mrs. Race. Richie's dad and mom are here. Mr. Race looks wonderful. Look at that gray hair. There's Hank Williams. I'll tell you, he's sitting with a heavy heart.
Yep.
You know that. His team lost by 2 points at Southampton. What a ball game that was. And we get a chance to talk about that game later on. That game was won because of a squeak of an official's basketball shoe.
That was a heartbreaking loss, but a great victory for Southampton. Hey, don't discredit the Southampton team. They ended Westhampton's winning streak of 21 in a row, and they've been a bit underrated. And they gave William Floyd all they could handle in that overall Suffolk County Championship.
They are a great ball club, great condition ball club, super speed. It was speed versus speed. Great game.
Charles Johnson will sit down with his second foul. Holman will go to the line, and we'll get another substitution for Westhampton. Jermaine Holman, who came in briefly, the younger brother. He's number 34. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about him. 8th grader, 13 years of age. He's sitting on the bench, his younger brother, as the older brother, Lamar, the junior, hits the first free throw. But Jermaine is some talent, Stan.
Oh, he really is.
8th grader?
He really is. Great hands, can throw it down. 13 years old.
He's 6'2".
years old and can throw it down.
He's 6'2", 150. First 2 points for Holman, and the lead is back to 11. Felician, good pass off, and underneath the missed shot, batted into the corner. That was Brian Guyton missing, number 45, who had just checked into the ball game.
Munch doing a nice job battling the big people under the boards.
Right now, Donahue's got to get his offense going.
Let's see how far away he is away from the basket. Look at the big people away from the basket.
Donahue has only 2 points in this ball game. He'll operate inside and was double-teamed and got fouled. He was double-teamed by Felician and Guyton, and he'll go to the line to shoot a couple of free throws. It's the 17th foul, so there'll be a 1-and-1 from here on in.
What Richie Race's ball club is doing is they have their big people, Donahue and Hubbard, out handling the ball, and then they cut inside and get low post. But what you got to do is stay disciplined and hold the ball and not put on the floor, panic, lose your composure, and lose the right people in the right spots, and that's what Westbury does. There's Richie Race, pensive.
Donahue missing that first free throw. He's a 65% free throw shooter. He's 1 for 4 from the floor today. You see 2 points, averaging 18 a game. And in the playoffs, had 15 against Southampton, 15 against Hills West, 20 against Miller Place, and 7 in the whopping victory over Deer Park.
Hey, he scored 1,213 points in his career, plus what he's done today.
Back up to Stanley Martin. Try to force it inside, knocked out of bounds as he's trying to find Brian Guyton. And we've got 3:20 to go. We've got time out on the floor with the score. The Westbury Dragons 30 and the Hurricanes of Westhampton 19. You're watching Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network.
Bosie's Open House, Tuesday, March 15th, day and evening. Bosie's Open House in Dix Hills, Northport, Elwood, Brentwood, and Republic Airport. Call 667-6000, extension 300, or speak to your guidance counselor. BOCES Tech Centers, the power to succeed.
And we'd like to congratulate Pearson High School, the small school representing Long Island out in the far eastern end of the island. They never get on TV, unfortunately. We're sorry about that. They're playing Tuckahoe today.
Right. I hear
Upstate.
that, it's not a good ball club, but Kenny Hunter, the coach, used to coach at Southampton. He's done a great job with that ball club. Kenny Hunter knows how to come out of a gym with a W.
And also would like to wish good luck to Southampton. They're playing tonight up at West Point against Albertus Magnus, one of the premier clubs in the state, representing the Westchester Rockland Section 1. And good luck to Southampton, Stan.
Yeah, Herm Lamison has done a great job with that ball club. They, what Hank says, we're going to wear them out. That Southampton team could play from now and to ever and not get worn out. Those kids don't know how to get tired.
Donahue's got to get going way off on the shot. Stanley Martin, he's 1 for 5 from the floor. Remember, he missed those 2 big free throws moments ago. So the lead stays 11, under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Oh, Martin able to come up with that. They've got the numbers here. Guyton will go up and put it in.
Westhampton's doubling up on the ball, but their rotation guy that come up and makes the steal is not doing a job and not being quick enough. Pete Donahue did not get the ball, and that is kamikaze play.
Hubbard forced it, got blocked, down court. Fletcher basket hanging, and the lead now is the largest of the ball game at 15, 34-19. 10 points for Fletcher.
Boy, what a difference a week makes. It was last week that it was Malvern making those breaks against Westbury.
Tyrone Ford laying it off softly to get the layup. He has double figures, 10 points after a very slow start. But the guy they've got to get going is Pete Donahue.
But he's got to get inside. You see, he's working his butt off bringing the ball in. He's exhausted. It's not like hockey you can change every 6 seconds.
That's true, Sam. We have line changes in hockey.
Right. You don't even call timeout because nobody's smart enough to say, hey, you're going for this.
Hal, did you educate him about hockey? They throw it away. Batiste looking for a backdoor cut.
Hockey and golf are 2 of the biggest illusions in the world.
There's Dwight Gibson. We mentioned the family, how important the family is. His lovely wife, Robin, is a great business lady, and they've got 2 lovely children. Dwight Jr., he's got a junior also, like Richie Ray says, a junior. Dwight's 4, and Gabrielle is 2.
Pressure up on a ball.
Well, Martin off the turnover will take it on Donahue, pull up, and bank it in off the glass.
Oh, Stan's going to the basket. But you know the commonality between Gibson and Race, Barry? They're both special ed teachers. Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
Wait a minute. Now, I'm not saying that basketball players are not, into the game and can I don't know what I'm saying.
Hubbard got the nice pass off to Tyrone Ford, and it's Ford keeping him in the game right now. He has 12, but again, the lead is 13. It's been an uphill struggle off the turnover, the walk. A minute 23 to go, and if they would just like to get it under double digits here, maybe 8 points.
Right.
They haven't been able to get it closer than 9 since this game started.
There's something magical about going in with a 9 or less deficit, but what the problem with that is Westbury just keeps coming back at you. They release people, so you score a bucket, and if you're out of position or a little bit tired and don't get back, forget about it. You neutralize the basket.
Turnovers are 11-11. Hubbard will pull up for the 16-footer. They're not hitting any outside shots at all, and Martin skying for the rebound. What a great first half Martin has 16 points and a ton of rebounds. 7 of 9 shooting, and Joe Spells turns it over. So Westbury, in a sense, keeping this a ball game. They could have a blowout here, but they're turning the ball over far too often.
Well, they will turn the ball over, but they will create turnovers. It's not how many turnovers you have, it's how many you've created. It's not how many points you score, it's how many you've given up.
All right, Donahue brings it across against Fletcher. Under a minute to go in the first half. Carl Reuter coming up with his halftime report. In the lane, Hubbard missed, batted around, munched the opportunity, missed it again inside, kicked out of bounds. It'll still be Westhampton ball with 42.7 seconds.
See, Barry, it's like would you want a surgeon or a dentist working on you, running around the block 20,000 times? And that's what happens. Westhampton's busting their butt getting up and down the court and losing their finite touch.
And they're releasing early. Fletcher had released early, but Johnson chose not to get it up to him. Spells off to Fletcher. Donahue again missing that last shot. Up to 4, tipped out of bounds with 29.3 seconds. They're down 13. They were down 9 at the end of the first quarter, 20-11, and now they're down 36-23. Is Richie Race wondering when his club is going to make a run in this game?
Well, it's exchanging baskets. You do not want an exchange of baskets. You got to score, and then you got to get back.
You see the time remaining in the first half. Donahue tightly guarded by Martin. Got a pick from Hubbard. Went left off the pick. Nice basket as he laid it off on the left-hand side. 4 points for Donahue. You see the time remaining. Johnson up, tipped out of bounds by Munch. It'll still be a Westbury ball with 8.3 seconds to go.
Cablevision almost became table vision with the ball right here in my lap.
You didn't go to defend me at all. Johnson up to Spells, over to Fletcher. Martin from the corner. Good pass, Guyton. He missed it. The follow no good. And the first half will come to an end with an 11-point lead for Dwight Gibson. And the Westbury Green Dragons, with thoughts in their mind somewhere of Martin Bunky Reed, their coach of last year, they head to the locker room with an 11-point lead.
Well, the Hurricanes were lucky because it could have been a 13-point lead.
That's the story at halftime. Carl Reuter will be back with Tom Sabatel, the Section 11 basketball coordinator, when we return. You're watching championship high school basketball on Cablevision's LISN.
They're courteous, they're quick. Children, they really take care of you.
If someone has a sick child, Jeff does it immediately, no waiting.
On New Year's Day. And he had the chicken pox, and this was the only place that was open.
We're open 363 days of the year. Rain, snow, everything. We're here.
It's family-oriented, especially for prescriptions.
It's the customer, the customer, the customer, the customer. Take care of the customer. That's it.
A dozen eggs. Make that 11. A dozen donuts, plus one's a baker's dozen. A dozen pair of sneakers, plus one free. That's the Athlete's Foot family plan. When a family buys 12 pairs, earn one pair free. No time limit, no cards to carry, and no cost. Any footwear, including cleats, count toward your dozen. Choose from all the top brands, Nike, Reebok, Fila, LA Gear, and check out our exciting lines from No Fear and Starter. Put your best foot forward at the Athlete's Foot, the best service and selection known to feed.
Halftime of the Long Island Class B final, and so far it's been all Westbury leading Westhampton by 11 points, 36-25, joined by the Section 11 Suffolk County basketball coordinator, Tom Sabatel. And Tom, it's a very, very busy time for you. A lot of teams from Suffolk still in action.
Well, we still have 4 teams alive today, and I'm kind of proud of that. It's been a good week so far.
In the B's that we're watching right now, you have the Hurricanes of Westhampton. In the A's, it'll be William Floyd. You also have Southampton in the C's. You're going to go run and watch that game. And D, Pearson. Tell us a little bit about Pearson from Class D.
Pearson, surprisingly, has some tremendous shooters in Schroeder and Ratcliffe, and I watched them on Thursday night against the team from Chester in Section 1, and they impressed. They look like they're playing very well, and if you recall, they played earlier against Southampton in a Suffolk tournament. They represented themselves very well. They're not very tall. They're scrappy, and they shoot well.
Ken Hunter does a nice job, and you have to be impressed when you go to a regional game and you win by 33 points.
Now, that was a big surprise, particularly with the team from Chester having only lost once or twice this year. And as Ken had said, he was very impressed with their previous win. So it was a credit to the kids, and nice to play close to home, too.
If you combine both Nassau and Suffolk, no matter who comes out on top and represents Long Island, who do you think right now, Tom, has the best chance of winning a state championship?
Difficult to say. The A matchups, from what we're understanding, are pretty wide open throughout the state. I thought Class C, the game between Malvern and Southampton, quite possibly could have been a state final. So I'm hopeful that Southampton will prevail tonight and represent Long Island pretty well. Class B is going to be tough. I'm looking for Westhampton to shoot a little bit better in the second half, perhaps handle the pressure a little bit better, but they're more than capable of going. And we'll see what happens with Class D. The Tuckahoe team from Section 1 is a very strong team, very much like Pearson. Not too tall, but, you know, very scrappy, excellent shooters. So difficult. Winning the states, every time you take a step up and you go to the next level, it's always more difficult for the kids, the coaches, and the fans, too.
You mentioned the next level. Tom Sabatel, thanks very much, and we will see you, Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network, making the trip back up to Glens Falls. So we'll see you next week up in the Lake George area. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, Tom Sabatel has been my guest. We're at halftime, Long Island Class B final, and it's Westbury by 11. Stay with us.
great store, clean, neat, and the sales help is wonderful, especially the pharmacists.
It's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store.
It's a great store. I just like the store, period.
I'm a tough customer. The prices are great. You can get in and out in 5 minutes.
Keep it up. The prices are great.
You got a fine store. Keep up the good work.
Is there a Mr. Genevieve? Yes.
And we've been trying to service the customer this way for 70 years next year.
We're members of the first ever Long Island Championship football team, but we never would have won if it wasn't for Steve Worth and Long Island Sports Rehab Center.
Steve Worth, physical therapist of the New York Islanders, has been providing orthopedic and sports physical therapy to Long Islanders for 20 years. With his professional staff, Long Island Sports and Rehab provides the best personal care for all your orthopedic needs. Long Island Sports and Rehab gets you back in action.
Join me and my team at Long Island Sports and Rehab.
Stan Kellner, before the game, talked to Coach Rich Race. You know him probably better than anybody.
No one knows Rich Race.
I asked him what the difference is this year playing in the game as opposed to last year when they lost to a Roosevelt team. He said, this year we're prepared. We know what we're to expect. So far, they don't know what to expect.
See, they haven't had a great week of practice. I don't think so. They've had some disruptions there. But the thing is, and if you notice this, Carl, the team that goes down the Long Island Expressway to the other county, gets past the border guards and everything else, the team that plays flat year after year after year.
All right, let's take a look at the halftime numbers in this one. A game where the Green Dragons lead by 11 points. Look at the shooting of Westbury.
Yeah, they're getting inside because Stan Martin has a beautiful arc on his three, but he has decided to take that big 210 body and go to the basket.
Decisive edge also, Westbury cleaning up on the glass.
On the glass, second and third shots. Unfortunately, I think Westhampton is so concerned about getting back on defense that they're not putting the big guys on the board. You know who's not played well, or I shouldn't say hasn't played well, he just hasn't gotten involved, and that's Kevin Hubbard. Kevin Hubbard has had a great year. The kid's got to get inside. Of course, Pete Donahue has to play well, and Tyrone Ford has to play well. But you know who you have to credit to? You have to credit Westbury. They are playing awesome.
Speaking of Westbury, we've got some highlights in this first half on the game, which you see right now. It's 36-25. And, boy, when Westbury gets it going, they really get it going.
Oh, they can fill lanes. There's Jumpin' Joe Spells off the board. But now watch this. Watch the green shirts. Now, this is going to be old-fashioned basketball. It's called the give and go. Watch this now. Hillman to Peter. That's Peter Donahue to Kevin Hubbard off the glass. Mr. Hubbard's got to get close to the basket. He's had a super year inside, but he's handling the ball. And Westbury's forcing the other guys to handle the ball, the big people to handle the ball.
All right, here is Westbury. Now, you mentioned the Stanley Martin throughout the game. Stanley Martin's going to come in here and follow it up.
There's Pedro Fletcher, the guy who hit the three and hit 2 threes, in fact. Stanley Martin inside. Big and strong. I mean, I've spoken to so many people, and I say, hey, if you had Martin, where would he always be? Around the boards. And, you know, Dwight Gibson knows how to coach.
How about big and strong? Talking about Dwight Gibson, big and strong, 34. You got to like Joe Spells.
Oh, Joe Spells. I love his hairline. He just goes inside.
He's got more than you.
Oh, yeah, and look who's talking here, folks. Have you noticed?
That's a great move. All right,
yeah,
quickly. I'm going to keep you to 10 seconds. Richie Race obviously has to make some moves in the second half. What are they?
He's got to hope that Westbury wants to rest for a while, because this Westbury is a great ball club, and if they want to play, there's nothing Westhampton can do. Sorry, Richard. Sorry, Westhampton. Sorry.
10 seconds are up. We're back with the start of the second half right after this time.
Sorry, Hoop Troops.
Stay with us.
A dozen eggs. Make that 11. A dozen donuts, plus one's a baker's dozen. A dozen pair of sneakers, plus one free. That's the Athlete's Foot family plan. When a family buys 12 pairs, earn 1 pair free. No time limit, no cards to carry, and no cost. Any footwear, including cleats, count toward your dozen. Choose from all the top brands, Nike, Reebok, Fila, LA Gear, and check out our exciting lines from No Fear and Starter. Put your best foot forward at the Athlete's Foot, the best service and selection known to feed.
Stan Kellner, my buddy, along with yours truly, Barry Landers and Carl Reuter, and the cheerleaders from Westhampton High School, hoping that the Hurricanes can throw a scare into the Westbury Green Dragons. They trailed by 9. Westhampton at the end of 1, trail by 11 here, Stan, and the second half underway. They'll start with some pressure on the ball, but Fletcher got it inside to you, Bryant, and they worked the ball beautifully.
Yeah, they work it down the sidelines, into the middle, offside, and bucket. It's a clinic.
6 points for Bryant. Now the official stopping play here is Walter Wetchy, the official from Rockland County, will go to the scorer's table. Dave Mock, by the way, doing the PA, doing a superb job. He's handled all the work. He's rooting for Westbury, former Westbury High School grad. And what
Should
a nice
he do
young
that?
man
Should he root for one team and be?
In his heart, I'm sure he is, Stan.
You know, the tone.
Just like you were rooting for Brentwood a couple of years.
No, I always rooted for Bayshore. Always rooted for Bayshore.
Munch from the corner. And Brock Munch, who's an excellent three-point shooter. He has 7.
See, that'll pick everybody up. That gets everybody adrenaline going. They're going to start believing they can beat this ball club, Westhampton.
Stanley Martin missed for a change. He had a great first half, Martin. I think he was 7 for 9 in that first half for 16 points. Holman. They're down by 10. A bucket here would make it the closest they've been since early in the game. Count the basket! And Hubbard was fouled by Fletcher.
Well, and Mr. Race wants to get the big guy close to the basket because the game is really played in 2 spots. It's played around midcourt, especially when both teams pressure, like these teams do. And the other thing, it's inside.
Well, this is the closest they've been since the score was 7-0. They're down 8, and they can cut it to 7 here.
See, Westbury, what they didn't do is get into the passing lane. They can sit back. Westbury does that. But you know what they do? Suddenly they explode with a bunch of baskets. Now, that's the one thing that Westhampton's got to be concerned about, getting back. But they got to score. They got to score.
Westhampton, not a good free throw shooting team, Stan, and it really hurt them against Southampton. They were 5 for 16 at the line in that game. Trying to make a comeback, they missed that free throw. We'll give you their free throw numbers, Westhampton, in a moment. Underneath Martin, reverses it too hard. Fletcher the follow, and it rolls off. He was fouled.
You see what's happening now? Westhampton has decided to play freer and rotate quicker, put better pressure on the ball, and Westbury's got to convert inside. They will get the shots inside. You got to convert. This is not going to be a perfect game or it's going to be a pretty game, but it's going to be a game who's standing at the end. As Hank Williams once said, the team that stands at the end.
Foul was on Hubbard. That's his second. First team foul. And at the free throw line, he often overlooked, but not by the coaching staff. You, Bryant, he has 6 first half points. And when you get it from a role player who's averaging only 6, you get him in the first half, you know that good things are happening.
He's got intensity, he's got heart, he handles the ball well, but I mean, I'll tell you, he steps up. He steps up and he's steady and aggressive. You love a kid like that.
He's an excellent student too, Stan. There's no question about it.
I know you'd be interested in his student achievement. Not that I'm not.
Well, Stan, let's face it. Academics were never your priority in school. Almost traveling. Looked like he did that time. Donahue, Hubbard inside. And Hubbard coming alive with 4 quick points here in the second half. He has 7, averaging 12 on the year.
He's locking himself in the low post. The ball's getting to him. He's got to be defense. He's dangerous. Mr. Kevin Hubbard.
They're down 7. This is the closest they've been since it was 7-0. Johnson. Oh, Martin inside. That's 2 points to the bucket for Stanley Martin. Martin with 18.
That's Charlie Johnson with the 3D. Drive, draw, and dish to the big guy.
Donahue looking inside to Hubbard. And he passed off to Munch. They lost it out of bounds.
You see the conversion inside. There's Richie Race. He's concerned.
Yeah, that was a bucket they should have had.
Yeah.
Hubbard turning, facing the basket.
What did someone just say? You can't coulda, woulda, shoulda. You can't go into rewind.
Charles Johnson over to Pedro Fletcher. Can't give him that much room. He'll miss, but Donahue is there for the rebound for Westhampton.
Holman has not really gotten inside against Westbury.
Donahue off on the three-pointer for the basket. Blocked that time by Martin. And Martin tripped up as he came into forecourt by Holman. It'll be a non-shooting foul, second foul on the team. with 5:35 to go, and the third foul on Holman. It's a 41-32 score in favor
Look at the big
of
guy
Westbury.
changing direction and the trip, accidentally, of course. But this big guy, you know, as a sophomore and as a ninth grader was a post player. Now he can put the ball on the floor. He's going to be an excellent college player. He's got to stay strong with his books.
Martin travels, turning on the baseline. John DeMarco, number 22 for Westbury, has come in. He is a good point guard, a very good defensive player. He has replaced Ford in the game. So Ford out, DeMarco in, as Holman will bring it across. They get smaller right now. John DeMarco's only 5'9". Hubbard up top.
See, Hubbard's coming out. Now he's got to get inside. Can't do it.
Fletcher, good job, knocked it away from behind. Joe Spells down court to Fletcher, and a foul will be called on DeMarco. The hoop troop behind us thought it was a clean hit, but there's a foul call.
Well, of course, Barry, you understand the hoop troop has a perfect view. Now take a look at this. Incarcerated youths freed up for a game. They come out into Nassau County, and this is what Westbury does well, the long pass. Oh, clean and off the knee. Clean, but you don't want to know something? Not a bad call because the official was out of position.
You gotta love Westbury's passing. It's like
Bad
a college
call.
group here, the way they look for one another and get it down court. Timeout taken by Westhampton. And with the score 41-32, 5:11 to go in this third quarter. Let's join the Westbury huddle.
Keep it up intensity. Keep the intensity. That's how we're going to win the game defensively. Let's go, let's go. Defense on three. One, two, three, defense. Go. Put the lock on him. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, there's the crowd sitting and waiting and watching.
Stand that Westbury coaching staff. Interesting that all three of the coaches involved in that discussion there.
Well, what happened was, you know, they worked together. Dwight Gibson worked with David Graff and Reggie Warren. The three of them are really, you know, they have tremendous rapport. As I said once before, David Graff was up for the job. Dwight got it, but they helped each other out. And I'll tell you something about Warren. Reggie Warren knows his basketball. These guys have great rapport with this team. They're young coaches, and they will make some mistakes. But, boy, I'll tell you, I remember my last game. I made a dozen mistakes my last game. I mean, big-time mistakes. That's why I got into this play calling here.
Fletcher makes 1 of 2. He has 11 points, and the lead is back to 10. It had been down to 8. Hubbard pressured in the backcourt by Spells. Munch. Ford is back in the game, number 12. Donahue, who had only 4 first-half points, their leading scorer, pulling up for the jumper, and he got the roll.
A kiss off the front rim, hard drive by Pete Donahue. I mean, stopping on a dime and with precision getting that ball to roll in.
Donahue with 6. Johnson almost lost it. Kept the dribble somehow and got a bucket out of it.
Unheralded on Charlie Johnson. I don't know if he's going to make all-league or whatever he does. 5 points a game, 6 assists. But I'll tell you something. He's been a key contributor all season long for this team.
Well, he just was named all-conference. Off the steal, Spells read that pass by Holman, and the lefty will put it up and in. And now that lead is built to 12. So every time they make a run, Dwight Gibson's ball club comes back.
What did I tell you? This team does not quit and keeps coming back at you. See, they have no conscience. Hey, you can beat them down a couple of plays. They'll keep coming down. They spread the court out. They run their lanes, and they get the ball off to the free guy.
You saw Charlie Johnson. Nobody called out to him. Holman should have called out, watch it. Because Johnson just came over, double-teamed, and knocked it away. He had no idea that Johnson was there.
But you're absolutely right. Do they do that in hockey? They say when you come from behind, they say, hey, watch it. They say it in Canadian or French.
Munch not watching the pass to Hubbard there, and Richie races, ball club turns it over. He's concerned right now. His club down by 12. They had made a run, came out with emotion to start this third quarter, but now it seems to have ebbed back the other way.
You know, that's a good ball club. I mean, they really had a great season. 12-0, 21-1, 21-0 before. But you know what's happened? They don't have the competition that Westbury's had game in and game out.
Point. Westbury played Malvern twice. We'll talk about their schedule. They lost 5 games so far, Westbury. And Spells will be called for the travel. They lost to Malvern by 1 earlier in the year, to Hempstead by 1, to Sewanwick and Zendon Hamilton by 6. Their only regular season loss in Conference 3, as we look at Richie Race there, calling his team, telling what he wants to see right now offensively. Their only regular season loss was to West Hempstead. They beat Garden City, ruined their undefeated run, and came up with a loss against Malvern. And Hubbard slipping in.
Yeah, we can't bury this Westhampton team. I mean, you win 21 games, Barry. You know how to finish, but they've got a challenge. There's no doubt about it, they've got a challenge.
9 for Hubbard, and a foul called. And it'll be against Munch.
Richie, take a look at this basket. There's Hubbard going inside to Holman, back to Hubbard, who cut to the basket, little power dribble, and coming up. That young man, Mr. Kevin Hubbard, is a senior, and I'll tell you, he's high at 28 against Saleyville. He's had some big games this year for his ball club, the Hurricanes.
Munch will sit down for Westhampton. DeMarco back in. Martin missing from the corner. The lefty Spells with those long arms comes up with the opportunity rebound, and Joe Spells makes it 48-36. He has 8 points.
Long arms but soft hands. That's why he got pay dirt there. Unfortunately, that was a 10-point lead that went to 12.
Hubbard, who got him started. Nice pass to Ford inside. He's a good slasher, Ford, and he's very tough when he gets inside.
This team will not get tired, Westhampton, but what they've got to do is get it into single digits.
Turnover. Here's Ford. Up to Holman. The return to Ford. No foul. Donahue the rebound. And it's 48-40.
Excellent no call. I'll tell you why. Because it was so questionable that you couldn't be fair to the other guy on the block and charge call. Excellent no call.
The lead is down to 8. 2:25 to go. Felician in the lane to Bryant. Did he lose it? No. They say it was knocked out of his hands. And we'll get a substitution. Munch will come in for DeMarco for Westhampton. As they go back to their starting lineup, they have played just basically 6 men with Jermaine Holman getting in for about a minute. So they have been basically an Iron Man unit.
You call it, folks. You call it. I mean, there's definitely contact there, and somebody got an advantage here, but it was Westhampton. Fortunately, the official decided not to call it.
All right, Felician over to Johnson. He'll launch one. Look at the position Martin had, missed it, goes up again. Holman outlets to Donahue. Donahue had Ford breaking, but he'll slow it down.
Hey, look at the 4 Bumblebees getting back on defense. Man, was that hustle.
Hubbard back to Munch. Remember, he had a big 3-pointer early. He'll try another one. Hunts the rebound down. Hustling play by Munch after he missed. 1:45 to go. They're down 8. They could get closest they've been in the game here since early. Hubbard, bullseye, and it's 48-42.
Oh, it's 6 points separating these 2 proud ball clubs. Somebody is going to bend. I mean, both teams can bend. I don't know if they know how to break.
Driving, losing the ball, Johnson. Hubbard up to Holman, to Ford, he's in, and the bucket makes it 48-44 with 1:18 to go. Timeout, Westbury. 8 straight points by the Hurricanes, so the Hurricanes blowing it here from the east end and trying to blow away the Westbury Green Dragons.
You know what's going through my mind? What I said at halftime to Carl Reuter. I gotta go back. I'm moving out of Suffolk County. If Westhampton wins this game, I'm going with you to St. Louis. I'm not going to be around, folks. This Westhampton ball club is playing ball. Now watch Holman. Lamar to Tyrone. And off the glass. It's great basketball. I love Suffolk County basketball.
You gotta box out, though. You gotta box out. You gotta box out. Everyone on the floor. If you steal the ball, listen, if you steal the ball, look up. Look, come on, it's 10 more minutes. Come on, let's go. Come on. Let's get it right now. On 3 hustle. 1, 2, 3. Hustle, let's go.
I'm going to tell you, if there's a turnabout in this game, I can't believe it, but Westbury, I can't believe what I said at halftime. You think the gods heard me? And do you think the gods live in Suffolk County? These are questions that will be answered.
You have burned bridges with Suffolk County officials, now with Suffolk County basketball coaches.
I am never going across that line there. I'm staying in Nassau County.
Now,
I can't believe it.
Well, Tommy Hammond looking on. He knows what a B championship game is like. His team beat Westhampton for the B, winning their 3rd straight Long Island championship. All right, Spells. Let's see how they respond. Pulling up. Off to the man and the franchise
to the
player.
man. To the man.
The franchise right there.
Stand the man.
Stan the man makes it 50-44. It's a 6-point lead, 20 for Martin. Hubbard off to Munch. He'll try a three. Donahue battling Ford, and they out-fought each other. Releasing is Martin, chased by Ford. Ford fouls him and count the basket for Stanley Martin.
With a power pump, the big guy did not feel the body, was not distracted. Dwight Gibson showing no emotion.
Oh, there's a lot burning inside. He played, of course, for Uniondale, went on to Penn State, had a great career.
Watch this, Barry. 4 points go to 8 points.
Yep, very quick.
Now watch this guy. No trajectory on that shot, unnecessary.
5 straight Stanley Martin points have opened it up to 9, 53-44. 35 seconds to go in this third quarter. It's been a tremendously exciting third quarter. Hubbard knocked away by Martin. The return to Martin. He ran into Donahue, and it'll be a foul called on Donahue, I believe.
Yeah, it was, and it was a late whistle. It's a shame that it was a late whistle, but the officials, you know something, you go into Suffolk and Nassau County, you go into Long Island, I don't know what kind of basketball they play in Rockland or Westchester, but they got to send guys that are in shape, because this game is quick.
Now the foul. Underneath the alley-oop for Martin. He got it the second time and put it in. So Stanley Martin taking over 7 straight points, 25 on the afternoon, and the lead is 55-44. Inside, Donahue battling for possession, still loose, out to Munch. He'll pull up for the jumper, short, and releasing, spells down court to Fletcher. Another easy hoop, and they've exploded right now for 9 in a row, and the 13-point lead at the end of 3. What a turnaround after that timeout. We'll be back with fourth quarter action. You're watching exciting high school basketball on Cablevision's LISN.
They're courteous, they're quick. When you have children, they really take care of you.
If someone has a sick child, Jeff does it immediately, no waiting.
On New Year's Day. And he had the chicken pox, and this was the only place that was open.
We're open 363 days of the year. Rain, snow, everything. We're here.
It's family-oriented, especially for prescriptions.
It's the customer, the customer, the customer, the customer. Take care of the customer. That's it.
Bosie's Open House, Tuesday, March 15th, day and evening. Bosie's Open House in Dix Hills, Northport, Elwood, Brentwood, and Republic Airport. Call 667-6000, extension 300, or speak to your guidance counselor. Bosie's Tech Centers, the power to succeed.
A lovely young lady. I know where her allegiance is. She's from a Westhampton crowd enjoying the action, but her club is trailing 57-44. 9 straight points to close out the third quarter after Westhampton cut it to 4, 48-44. Let's see if they can come back again. Stan. DeMarco. DeMarco working up top. Hubbard swung it inside. Here's Holman. Got to get Donahue involved in the offense. It was Hubbard who helped bring him back. Hubbard wants the ball inside against Fletcher. Stanley Martin getting a breather on the bench right now.
Right, but
Donahue pulling up.
Still in the game.
Missing, but Hubbard's got the rebound with no Martin in there. He was able to go up and get that rebound.
What's happening now is Westbury's allowing Westhampton to control the tempo and the ball, and they work very well. Richie Race has a whole bunch of sets where those kids move without the ball, and if they can get the ball inside and get a good shot, but what they've got to do is make the shots or else get back real quick, Barry, right? They got to get back because Westbury is exploding. I mean, anticipating the rebound and releasing a guard.
Kevin Hubbard missing. They are 3 for 8 from the foul line. He is 1 for 3 himself. He has 11 points, 8 in the third quarter to key that comeback. But it's Donahue really has to get going. They've got to hit some outside shots, like Munch hit a couple of shots, and Richie Race talking to Munch on the sideline.
Brock has to have, Brock Munch I'm talking about, has to make those shots right now. And I really hate to say it, has to, but that's what this game is all about.
Johnson falls down and travels as he worked his way into a trap. And Westbury going with a lot of people off the bench. Randy Felton now in. So they've used 9 players, really resting some of their starters. Stanley Martin's on the bench
Smart
right
move.
now.
Absolutely smart move, because now Martin's going to go back into the ballgame. But keep fresh legs in there on defense, because that is the way to beat this team, not only defensively, but to release afterwards and score quickly.
Ford against Bryant, Holman against Johnson. He's got to start taking some chances. And as he drives, Johnson commits the foul, non-shooting foul. Only the 3rd team foul, and the 3rd on Johnson. He played with 2 fouls early, and then he played good defense after that, didn't pick up any. And there's the franchise coming in. Stanley Martin, a Division I player, no question about it. He's got another year to go, and a lot of people looking at him.
Well, you know, he's learning, because I know he loved to play inside, then he loved to play outside. Now he's learning how to play the love both games. He's got to play close to the basket and still hit the 3.
Donahue missing another one from outside. Johnson over to Fletcher. Donahue 4 for 12 from the field today. Fletcher. Martin lost it. Let's see, Munch and Martin were going for it, but I'm going to say it's off Munch. So Westbury will retain possession here. Dwight Gibson's ball club leading by 12. Trying to earn a trip upstate to the Glens Falls, New York State semifinals to be played next week. And LISN will be covering. Carl Reuters, Stan Kellner, and Al Sass, I believe, also be making his way up there if he can find the right road this time. Johnson off to Joe Spells. Fletcher from the corner. Bullseye for Pedro Fletcher. And it's back to a 14-point lead.
Pedro's been flat 2 games in a row. Just came up now big in this game.
3 threes for Fletcher. Look at the work by Johnson. Trying to take it away from home, and they got to get it across. And they will not in time. Hubbard on the 10-second violation. So great defense. Richie Race's club losing the ball with 6:13 to go.
Let's give credit where credit is due. Number 11, Charlie Johnson, the 5'7", 140-pound junior, just played great defense on Lamar Holman. Another junior.
Ball knocked into the back court, out of bounds. It'll be Westbury ball, 6:08 to go. In case you're just tuning in, Westbury has dominated from out. They led 20-11 at the end of 1, 36-25 at half, and had a 15-point lead cut to 4. And now they've opened it up again. Martin missing, tipping it up the second time, and now they lead by 17, their biggest lead of the ball game. And it's been Stanley Martin late in the 3rd and early in the 4th. He has 27 points. Off to Hubbard. He'll challenge and put the bucket up and in as he challenged Joe Spells. And now it's a 15-point ball game.
That's a replay of what we saw in the first half with Pete Donahue bringing it down the sidelines, pulling it up, and a go cut.
Stanley Martin having a field day. Blocked. There's the opportunist. Hugh Bryant with the bucket, the garbage man. He has 9 points in this ball game.
Great things happen when a guard penetrates or somebody penetrates with the basketball, the rotation, and there's always an athlete that's going to the basket and knowing how to get that ball and just put it back where it belongs.
Richie Race's ball club ran into a little bit of a hurricane last week from the East End called Southampton. And they're running into a very tough, talented Westbury club that's shown a lot of poise after Westhampton made that run to cut it to 4. You have a great player like Stanley Martin, a go-to guy, which they did. He went and did late in that 3rd quarter.
You know, Stan Martin, I think, realized he would have to step up, but you can't think about stepping up. You got to do it.
Hubbard trying to do it here inside, got hammered. Double teamed by Fletcher and Bryant. And he'll go to the line to shoot a couple, but you wonder, you know, they needed, Stan, a big ball game from Peter Donahue, who's been a tremendous player, 1,213 points. Hubbard has been going to the hoop. He's been challenging, but Donahue has been content to try to hit outside shots instead of taking it to the glass.
Credit the defense, but, you know, this young man here, Kevin Hubbard, 14, his dad's also a teacher over at Westhampton. But, you know, the thing about a year ago, he really had a frustrating game against Roosevelt. Did not play well. I mean, just got down on himself in the semis and the finals over there. He has really played. And when you really look at this point, you know, Barry, one team is going to lose. But when you lose, you want to lose with pride. You want to lose that you say we were courageous. And this team, Westhampton, has played very courageously. They came back. Martin just stepped up.
Well, it's not over, Stan. You were starting to say it might be over at halftime. And they were down by as many as 15. They cut it to 4. Let's see if they can make another run as we join the Westhampton huddle.
Hey, what do you think? We're going to pick him up in range. We're going to pick him up in range. You got Martin 32, okay? You got Spells 34. You got Spells 34. You got 11. Still left. You got the other card. How many yellow cards? Yes. Great. You got the other card. Who's ever else there? You two got to work it out. You two got to work it out. You got 33? You got 33. Get up on it. You got the other guy. Who's ever else there? So you're told. Hold on. Let's find out. Election, Martin Spells. Ryan, 33. 11. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Come on. Let's go, baby. Got 5 minutes? On 3 hustle. 1, 2, 3. Hustle. Got 5 minutes?
You know that Westhampton started out matching up, playing tough man-to-man, but when they fell behind, they had to go to this, the scrambled eggs kind of a defense, and it didn't work. That good defenses like that, or I should say aggressive defenses, don't really work against really well-drilled, skilled athletes, and that's what Westbury is right now.
Excellent point, Stan. I was going to just say, where is that Westhampton defense, which allowed only 41 points a game? The last 2 games, Southampton, a similar type team, able to penetrate, take advantage of what you're just talking about. They scored 67 points, and Westbury already has 64. We've got over 5 minutes to go in this game.
You know, what you can say is, Westbury, congratulations. Although the game isn't over, 5 minutes, they can make a run. But see, Westbury keeps coming back at you. They'll release some people. You miss a layup, and you got 2 yellow shirts streaking down the court on the sidelines.
Well, turnovers like that will help. You mentioned turnovers last week against Malvern. Westbury must have had 25 turnovers in that game, and one reason why they lost.
Back, Barry. You weren't there. You weren't at that game.
No, but Hal Sass
in
was.
Hart you were. In Hart you were. And we were talking about you.
We were up at the MAC, Carl and I. We missed you. We had some great basketball.
The rumor had it that you guys were involved in counseling, is working with me, and that you were in counseling.
All right.
But I'm glad that you're okay, and you were at the MAC.
Yeah, we were at the MAC.
Oh, okay.
The Nick at the MAC.
The Nick at the MAC.
Knick-knack. Right now, let's get back to play here and tell the folks that Tom Cregan has come in for the first time for Westhampton. Got it to Hubbard. He has Ford underneath. Ford, who's been very quiet here in the second half, makes it 64-51. Ford has 18, but very few points for Ford in the second half. Only 6 here in the second half. He's got to get going. Their big 3, Ford, Donahue, and Hubbard have got to make things happen. Spells lost the ball, another turnover, and with a 13-point deficit, still 4:29 to go. Let's see if Westhampton can pull it off again.
Absolutely. What Richie Race did now was go into the man-to-man defense, and they play very good defense. You talked about giving up 44, which is #1 in the county on defense. They're going back to their prideful defense, turn the ball over, and try to get a good shot.
Donahue brings it up. Top of the key, Hubbard. Boom!
You added 11 syllables to the word bullseye. That's like score.
64-53 is our score.
Was great.
We haven't had one like that since we had one of them stick up there.
And I'll tell you, the audience ought to know this, that if that ball was still going, you would still stay there, and you would be like a singer, like Neil Diamond, taking that tone, that one note, and staying with it for half an hour, if it had to be.
All right, we have a foul, and at the line will be Charles Johnson. He has 2. So CJ, nicknamed CJ, he's a track star, and the point guard, an all-conference point guard. Pedro Fletcher, by the way, was first-team All-County. Joe Spells, also a second-team All-County, and Stanley Martin for the 2nd year in a row All-County. Probably make All-State again, all Long Island Stanley Martin, no question.
Well, he's showing his wares now. What an arsenal, just what he was playing on perimeter and scoring 27 points.
He missed on the front end of the 1-and-1. Fletcher got it back, lost it in the lane, got it back to his teammate. Batiste, that's a big possession turnover, because Westhampton would have had the ball stand.
This is a good opportunity to Westbury to show that they can play that half-court defense and play the clock. Spread out the defense, play the clock, catch and throw, and then cut.
All right, here's Martin up top, guarded by Donahue. Batiste.
See, there's no reward on defense. Oh,
Felician in the ball game right now. He's number 34. A little bit of a weave here, a little delay here. Stolen away by Hubbard from Fletcher. He'll drive to the hoop, strong, and put it in.
Great change of direction that allowed Kevin Hubbard to stay with the ball. Great change of direction.
20 points for Hubbard, averaging 12, his high 28 this year, and it's now a 9-point ball game, 3:07 to go. So the delay forced them to maybe make a turnover there, as they wanted to take some time off the clock. Now Fletcher will bring it back out to Spells. Under 3 minutes to go. They lead by 9. Felician.
Does Westhampton have anything left on defense?
That's a good question. They play
go back on offense.
5 guys, and they're just taking time off the clock. You see the time remaining. Felician, number 44 in the game, a tough defender. And now they've eaten up about 45 seconds of the clock.
Stop the clock.
How about fouling here, Stan? At least stopping the clock. Joe Spells missing. There's Stanley Martin back up and in. That could be the crusher.
It certainly is. Not only the time and the bucket, double-edge advantage.
Hubbard back the other way, stripped by Joe Spells, and tied up. A foul will be called on Hubbard. But what a job Kevin Hubbard has done here in the second half for Richie Race. He'll want a timeout to talk things over right now, with his club down by 11 with 2:15 to go.
That's Jack Pullock with him, and Bill Hempling, as junior high coach, that's helping out Richie on the sideline. They got to be proud of their job, especially the way these kids have come back. Westbury's got to be proud to have that second opportunity after that game against Malvern and do a little bit of, you know, inward looking.
Time out on the floor. We'll be back with more high school basketball in just a moment.
Great store, clean, neat, and the sales help is wonderful, especially the pharmacists.
It's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store.
He's a great store.
I just like the store, period.
I'm a tough customer. The prices are great. You can get in and out in 5 minutes.
Keep it up. The prices are great.
You got a fine store. Keep up the good work.
Is there a Mr. Genevieve? Yes.
And we've been trying to service the customer this way for the 70 years next year.
Seems to me there's so much to do here, and that translates into so many things to cover.
When I talk about composing a scene, it means that you have to have a plan.
Here now is a list of upcoming community events taking place not far from where you live. All right, well, good luck Saturday, John, and congratulations on your big win this past weekend.
Thank you very much.
And denominators, 3 times 3 is 9.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Gail. Bye-bye.
There's so much going on, and I think anybody who lives out here will know that.
We'll take a look earlier. Richie Race, during that sequence that they were using the clock, he was yelling at his team to foul, 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 stop the clock. And when his team eventually fouled, they allowed a 3-point bucket. He was quite upset, as you might imagine. But a very intense Richie Race, who really believed that his club could win this game. He felt that they had learned a lot from last year's loss against Roosevelt and had played such a superb season this year.
They were not in a power state, and you've got to get that power, that zone. You got to get that feeling that it's your day.
Spells hits the free throw. He has 9, and the lead is back to 12. It had been down to 4 at 48-44. Then they went on a 9-0 road. Stanley Martin with 7 of those 9 points. Joe Spells, the calm, cool, all-county lefty, puts it in. He's done well in the playoffs, averaging about 14 a game. So now they'll go into a little pressure here, Stan. Full court pressure.
Sure. And what they're going to do is make Westhampton work for at least a good shot and spend their energy bringing the ball up.
Off to Ford. They can't take too long getting shots off. Ford tightly guarded inside to Hubbard. He'll go up and misses. The rebound to lefty Spells, stripped to the ball. Hubbard tried to dish it off to Ford and got fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
A minute and 58 seconds left. That clock has to stop, 30 times for Westhampton to get back into this ball game. The clock must not go on. It's 2 minutes, and you've got to take that. You've got to take those 2 minutes and really stretch it out. Stop the clock, both ends.
See the time remaining and the score. Now make it 68-56. Kevin Hubbard has been sensational, 21 points, and here in the second half, he has had 18 second-half points, Stan, to help his club back in. Donahue, unfortunately, who's a great player, not having a good afternoon, and at times Tyrone Ford has disappeared, even though he's had a lot of points in certain places. Now, what is Dwight Gibson yelling?
Well, he wants to get match up on defense and make sure they protect the block, but he wants everybody alert, take that half a turn.
Hubbard traveled. He was trying to be unselfish, dish it off to Ford along the baseline, and a travel on Hubbard. That bucket there could have cut it to 10. They're down 12 here. Spells. They've got to stop the clock. Got a foul here.
You've got to get the head on the ball, and you got to reach in for the ball.
Johnson, CJ knocked away from behind. They've got the ball here. They're pushing it up. Martinez, or Menendez rather. And the foul will be, oh no, a travel call. Well, these turnovers, which they've cut down here in the second half, you think back to the first half, really hurt them as they were denied possession.
See, Westbury, Malvern, Hempstead, Southampton, what they do is they make you play at a speed that you don't really want to play at. They always have body, arms, and legs inside.
And Fletcher just banks it in, and it's icing on the cake right now. 14-point lead, 18 points for Fletcher. So Fletcher, Martin, and Spells have done their job. Holman drops it in to make it 70-58. Spells on the high dribble, almost turned it over. Gets it over to Fletcher, the captain. Back out to C.J. Johnson and the Westbury Green Dragons. New York State champs back in 1985 under Bunky Reed are going to be heading to Glens Falls.
With their young coach, Dwight Gibson, with David Graff, and Reggie Warren. They're going to get on that Long Island Expressway. They're going to go over that Trogs Neck Bridge. They're going to go up the Long Island Expressway. Is Hal Assassin writing this down?
I'll tell you, there are a couple of former coaches, one that is here in person, Eddie Krinsky, and one here in spirit, Bunky Reed. Very happy about the way things are going right now.
There's been an inspirational support, surely, in the minds and hearts of Westbury. But, you know, if you look at Westbury's defense, they got three qualities, you know, three ingredients. First of all, and they all start with the letter H. They got heart, they got head, and they got hands.
Joe Spells makes it 71-58, his 11th point of the afternoon. And the Green Dragons on their way. They lost to Roosevelt the last 3 years to Tommy Hammett's ball club. Remember, their girls were state champs in 1983. They've had some great players under Ed Krinsky, Dennis Duval, Rudy Waterman, Joe Dupree. They've had a great tradition of basketball at Westbury High School.
And I'm glad to see a team, you know, with the baton being passed to another great program.
And Holloman missing, tap back out. There's Donahue.
Oh, he's been dogged the whole game. I mean, he's really been hustled.
Look at how tight the defense.
That's right.
In the corner that time by Felician. All over him. C.J. Johnson. And he adds icing to the cake to make it 74-58. Only 4 points for C.J. What a great floor game he's played. Holloman fouled by Johnson. And they're going to make some changes. The Westbury bench is up. We're going to get a lot of the starters coming out, getting a deserved rest.
This is the big guy, Stan Martin's brother, coming into the ball game.
And checking into the ball game, big number 51, Douglas Martin, a 6'6 sophomore. And junior Stanley Martin sits down. The Westbury Green Dragons looking to slay somebody upstate because they have slayed the Long Island opposition here, Stan.
Look, he says, Coach, you said we couldn't do it. We couldn't beat this. But Coach played a little head game with his players.
Well, perhaps the best thing happening to this club in retrospect, although they didn't want to lose to, in the overall county championship to Malvern, was to lose that game the last Saturday here on this.
You know, let that be a lesson to anybody that's watching athletics, that it's not the failures, it's not the mistakes, it's not the setbacks, it's how you handle them, how you reframe them, and what do you say? What have I learned from this situation? Evidently, Westbury has learned a lot. In 1 week, they've gone within, they've checked out what they've got and decided and set new goals for themselves.
All right, and changes made for Westbury under a minute to go in the game. Here is the younger Martin, Douglas Martin. Oh, he's on the board. Oh,
I can do it like my brother.
They're loving it up there.
Pumpster. He pumped.
Holman, inside for Hubbard. He got fouled. And the little guy over there, number 10, that was Randy Felton at 5'9", chesting up to the big guy, Douglas Martin. And
he says, here, when we get these other guys graduated, next year it's going to be you and me. It's going to be you and me.
And indeed it will be.
Just don't forget me. I won't forget you.
Congratulations to Mr. Friedman, Stu Friedman, the athletic director. They do such a great job over there. Really an outstanding school, Stan. and very happy for their success going over. And nearly getting to us was that aforementioned young man, number 10 for Westbury, Randy Felton. He almost sent me to St. Louis earlier than I wanted to go, Stan.
You know, it's so funny, Barry. As he came over,
box,
you weren't watching. You were checking your notes, all your trivia, your 8 tons of trivia.
Hey, this is our last 20 seconds together. It's been a pleasure this year. Holman making it from outside, but too little too late for Holman. He has 5. We're down to the final 12 seconds, 11.6, and the clock stops. Carl Reuter will be taking over for that Hempstead-Floyd game. Stan, quick synopsis. How about that game coming up the 8th?
Great, absolutely. I am not going to forecast that game. There is no way I'm going to forecast that game. Do you know how close I was never to go back into Suffolk County?
Well, Hempstead and Floyd. Floyd, of course, with the great player, Mr. Hodson.
The complete package. Totally the complete. And not only with skill-wise, but attitude.
And, of course, Hempstead answering the Norris Bells, the Dwayne Posey. Oh. What a matchup inside that's going to be.
You know what? William Floyd, they're really in undiscovered territory right now. Hempstead, they've been here so many times.
All right, and again, good luck to Southampton playing upstate tonight against Alberta Magnus and Pearson as well. And that will close it. Westhampton getting a bucket from Jermaine Holloman. Talk about the future. Holloman scoring that last bucket, the 8th grader, and it's over. Dwight Gibson shaking hands with his co-assistant coach, Dave Graff, and there's Stu Friedman, the athletic director. And on a mission, the Westbury Green Dragons, who lost their coach, Martin Bunky Reed, the assistant principal who died of cancer, of course, last year, heading to Glens Falls with a well-deserved victory. They jumped out early, dominated this ball game. The lead was cut to 4 late in that 3rd quarter. The crowd was involved, and then a guy named Stanley Martin and the Green Dragons went crazy. Let's go to Stan Martin, and standing by with our Carl Reuter.
All right, Barry, thanks very much. Stanley Martin, 29 points, 12 rebounds. You want to go back and rub it in me again? A couple of weeks ago, I thought Garden City, you went out, you beat them. Here you are, the Long Island Class B champions.
Well, we proved to everybody that we are the best, and now we're going upstate to prove it all over again.
All right, Westhampton comes out. You get the job done early on them. You had the big lead, but they kept fighting back. They cut it to 4. You took over the ball game. You scored 7 straight points, including the dunk. What happened in that timeout there when you were only up by the 4 points? What did Coach Gibson say to you guys?
He stressed that we had to pick it up a notch on defense, and that's what we did.
How good was this Westhampton team coming in? Did you feel that you could take them at any time?
We knew that we could beat them, but we also knew that it would be a tough game, which it was.
The icing on the cake, was it when your brother scored 2 points at the end of the ball game?
I love my brother, and he's going to do a lot more upcoming in the future.
All right, Stanley Martin, congratulations on just a super effort. 29 points, 12 rebounds. We'll see you up in Glens Falls. It's time to celebrate.
All right.
All right, Stanley Martin, obviously the most valuable player in this one, 29 points, 12 rebounds. Westbury is taking that trip upstate to Glens Falls, and they'll be there with us next week. When we come back to Hofstra University, Barry and Stan wrap it all up right after this one final timeout.
When you add it all up, it's the total college experience that makes Hofstra University the one to choose. Hofstra University. Call 516-HOFSTRA.
Bosie's Open House, Tuesday, March 15th, day and evening. Bosie's Open House in Dix Hills, Northport, Elwood, Brentwood, and Republic Airport. Call 667-6000, extension 300, or speak to your guidance counselor. Bosie's Tech Centers, the power to succeed.
A dozen eggs. Make that 11. A dozen donuts, plus one's a baker's dozen. A dozen pair of sneakers, plus one free. That's the Athlete's Foot family plan. When a family buys 12 pairs, earn 1 pair free. No time limit, no cards to carry, and no cost. Any footwear, including cleats, count toward your dozen. Choose from all the top brands, Nike, Reebok, Fila, LA Gear, and check out our exciting lines from No Fear and Starter. Put your best foot forward at the Athlete's Foot, the best service and selection known to feed.
The Westbury Green Dragons heading to Glens Falls, Long Island Class B champs. 76-63 over a game. Westhampton Hurricanes club that Stan Kellner got off flat. It was 14-2 very early. They made the run late in the third quarter, but never could get over that hump after that.
You know, Stanley Martin has scored big time in all the games, but there are a thing called noisy points. He was noisy today. He was tough and physical, and he punished people, and that was the difference in this ball game, I believe, other than Charlie Johnson. I thought Charlie Johnson played a fine point position.
Well, Donahue had to come up big, and not to single him out, and he had an off afternoon. He's been a tremendous player for this team all year, throughout his great career, scoring over 1,000 points, but in the biggest game of his career, he just had a flat afternoon.
Well, he was worked to death out there, and he couldn't get back into the groove. But it was other, you know, Ford didn't really step up and play. But you know something? You can't point fingers now. You can't fix the blame. What you got to do is credit people, and it's Westbury. They played so flat last week on this court. This home court advantage is really a big time. It's a long ride from Westhampton past the border guards and getting out here. And so I got to credit Westbury. They came to play and win.
All right, Stan, put you on the spot. You've been up to Glens Falls before. You saw what Roosevelt did up there last year. Can Westbury go out and win maybe another state championship?
Yes, they can. I'll tell you why. Because they got 3 scorers. They have had the pain of defeat. They know the pain of defeat. Their coach knows clearly how to win. They can absolutely do it. They play good defense. They score a lot of easy buckets. They can be quick. But the thing that they'll face up there, Barry, is quickness, too. There's quick versus quicker, and who's got more heart? Westbury had a lot of heart today. Not that Westhampton didn't. I live in the county.
Stan, it's been great working with you once again, and good luck to you and Carl and the rest of our crew heading up the stage.
Let me just say one thing. This guy is now going to take a run himself on the Long Island Expressway and catch a flight. He took a red eye to come in here to do this game. He's going to St. Louis. Tonight he's going to be doing a hockey game. But first, folks, the thing that he's going to do is stop off at Ben's and have a pastrami sandwich and a Dr. Brown's celery soda, and then he's off.
All right, thanks, Stan. And once again, our final score, the Westbury Green Dragons, the Class B champs, as they win it 76-63. Now, Cablevision's playoff coverage will continue with Carl Reuter and Stan Kellner. Next, we head upstate to the Civic Center in Glens Falls, New York, for the state championship. Follow the best Long Island has to offer in their quest to bring home a state title. The Long Island Sports Network, bringing home winning moments. Today's game has been brought to you by our friends at Genevieve's. We'll take good care of you. 50 stores on Long Island to serve you. By the Athlete's Foot. Nobody knows the Athlete's Foot like the Athlete's Foot, with 10 locations on Long Island to serve you in Nassau and Suffolk County. And by the Bosse's Tech Center, the power to succeed. For Stan Kellner, Carl Reuter, and all our crew, including Hal Sass and John Connell, our producer direct today, Rich Martinetti, and the cast of thousands, this is Barry Landers saying so long, everybody, and thanks for watching Cablevision's LISN.
Cablevision's Long Island One wants your St. Patrick's Day parade photo. If you plan